Thank you for joining me today to learn about Healthy Nevada's consent policies. In this video, you will learn what is consent and why is it necessary. So what exactly is consent? Consent is required in the state of Nevada, according to Senate Bill 43. All HIE participants, in order to view records and results within the Health Information Exchange, must have a patient consent on file. Nevada Medicaid patients are automatically opted in. So what that means is that though you will give the patient a form to look over, ultimately the choice will be the same in that they will opt into the Health Information Exchange. This clause here basically states that they are automatically opted in, and that if they are no longer a Nevada Medicaid recipient at some point, they have the responsibility and the option to choose their consent choice, as well as fill out a new consent form, and they can do so by going back to any physician treating them that is a Healthy Nevada participant. What are the consent choices? So, our patients have 3 consent choices. The first one being I consent, and that allows for all HIE participants to have access to all electronic health record information, including sensitive information. The second choice is I consent only in case of an emergency, and at that point, the physician, in deeming that it is an emergency situation, would be able to break the glass and view the patient's record. The last option is I do not consent, in which case, even if the patient is in an emergency situation, a physician would not have access to that patient's record through the Health Information Exchange. Conditions of consent. So with consent is required for access to records via the Health Information Exchange. Currently, there is no expiration date for the consent form. A patient may choose to select a different option at any given time, given that they are not a Medicaid patient. So this could be that a patient goes to their primary care physician in the morning. They fill out a consent form and state that they do not want their physician to have access. Later in the afternoon, they could be admitted to an emergency room department where they are then asked to provide consent again. And they at that point could decide that yes, they would like to give consent for access to their information through the Health Information Exchange. As long as they fill out a new form, they can change consent at any given time. Medicaid patients are always yes, and when or if they are no longer a Medicaid patient, they have the right to fill out a new form and change their consent option. Minor consent works similar to that of an adult, in that they will still have to have a consent form signed on their behalf by their legal guardian or their parent. That consent choice will be applicable to the age of 18. Once the patient turns 18, the consent choice will reset and they will be required to fill out a new consent form. So how does your organization benefit from having a consent on file? Well, physicians have instant access to patient records from all providing HIE participants, so less time is spent waiting for faxes and records, and more concentration on the patient. Duplicate testing is also reduced, reducing test costs and exposure to radiation, since they will have immediate access to the patient's record via the Health Information Exchange. If you have additional questions in regards to consent and your organization, you can email hielearning@healthinsight.org.